let me take you through the projections for vote share in Rajasthan. Remember, this is where the BJP has announced that it will go in without projecting a chief ministerial face. They're also saying that Vasundhara Raje will not be given the kind of center stage that she had in the past few elections. Ashok Gehlot has a record of just seeing his party's vote share crash after 5 years of being in power. So what does the Rajasthan vote share look like? The Congress, remember, in 2018 had a 39% vote share. See voters projecting at this moment that the Congress's vote share could go up to 42. That's the October projection. When this poll was done in July by the same polling agency, the Congress's vote share was at 41. So that's a 1% gain in vote share between July and October. The BJP in 2018 had a 39% vote share. So they had roughly the same amount of votes as the Congress, except their votes were concentrated. The Congress's votes were more diffuse, and therefore their seat conversion ratio was better. The projection in July by C voter was that the BJP would end up at 46% vote share. Now the projection is 47. So the BJP's vote share projection has also gone up by 1. How does this translate into seats? So coming up on your screen now, the C voter projection for Rajasthan. There are 200 assembly seats in the state of Rajasthan. The C voters projecting in October, the Congress's vote share, which was 100 in 2018, came down to 83 in July, has crashed further to 64 in October. So from 100 in the last elections to 64 now, between July and October, 20 seats down. So the Congress in Rajasthan seems to be on a downward slope, month on month. That's the image that emerges from this C voter tracker. The BJP, on the other hand, was at 73 in the last elections. That went up to 114, now projected to go up to a whopping 132. That's up 59 seats from the last elections. And on that note, let me get in Yashwant Deshmukh for his first thoughts on the poll for Rajasthan, which seems to suggest the Congress is getting weaker, the BJP getting stronger, and it seems that Ashok Gehlot, the magician, will live up to his track record, according to your data, of taking the Congress from the high of a victory in one election to a terrible low in the next. And also for 30 years, Rajasthan has had this same formula of voting out governments after 5 years. That seems likely to get repeated. Yashwant.
Well, Rahul, one interesting thing that our tracker is pointing out, which we are routinely doing for PSC and the ABP, is like the bipolarization of these states is getting more and more acute by the day. Even though Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh have been long known for a bipolar state between BJP and the Congress, but there was always like every fourth voter in these states was going between 20%, 25% up to of them were going to others. These others included the BSP and the many of the small local parties.
But can I chip in to make the point that one of the reasons why you're picking up only 10% vote for the others, and it was 18% in 2018, is also because candidates haven't been declared, so you don't know how many rebels are standing. And typically, if there are powerful rebels, then the number of people in your poll who will say they're voting for those independent candidates might be much higher. Because remember, Ashok Gehlot last time, because he didn't get his sway in ticket allocation, put up some of his own rebels, which didn't get captured in an opinion poll, but would only be known in a post-poll or very close to the actual polling. Yashwant.
That's true. That's true. So far, it's really working out like that. Maybe the others' votes might increase as and when the play of the rebel candidates get into action. And it would be interesting to see if that happens. Then those rebels are eating up to from which pie actually in that way. But by and large, as far as Rajasthan is concerned, Rahul, it looks like a routine anti-incumbent verdict, and I don't really have to work really hard to explain that, honestly, because apart from what data is showing, it's very easy for me as from putting my journalist cap and understand that in the last 4.5 years, there was hardly a positive headline, making to center stage from Rajasthan.
No, but one of the things that Yashwant's data doesn't capture, GVL Narasimha Rao, is the subterranean damage some of your stalwart netas could do. For example, Vasundhara Raje hasn't been projected this time. If she doesn't give it her all and she skipped some of the Parivartan Yatras and her supporters just pull their hands and don't fight as hard as they could, the data may not capture it, but andari andar, as was the case with Yadurappa in Karnataka, you may discover later that the situation is tougher than you would have initially imagined. So that's one of the risks the BJP runs.
Not really, Rahul, because such calculations were made even in the last assembly elections, and quite contrary to the projections in 2018, the BJP barely, I think the Congress barely made it to the government. They did not even secure a majority. They were able to, they thought of a massive anti-incumbency against Vasundhara Raje government. It was calculated that the BJP was a completely divided house. There was no clear projection on the leadership. Despite all this, Congress could not even get a majority in the last election. So therefore, while we have several important leaders in the state, and they all may have their own, they have their own stature, but it only adds to the BJP's strength. It does not in any way work against our electoral prospects. So 130 is quite a 134 is a very realistic number according to me, and we could even surpass that, because even when we won in 2013, we won a we had won a landslide mandate. Okay. This could even turn out to be a landslide.
You know, that's what's happened in the past. When Gehlot became chief minister in 1998, the Congress had about 45% of the vote share. In 5 years, Congress's vote share crashed 36%. That's a 9% loss. Their seat share fell from 153 to 56. That's a 100-seat, virtually 100-seat loss in seat share. In 2008, when he became chief minister, the Congress had 96 seats. 5 years later, the Congress's seat share in 2013 was down to 21. So this has been, Amitabh Tiwari, the track record of the magician in Rajasthan. After winning, somehow it's not like the BJP lost last time, but they weren't routed. They were at 73, which is bad but not pathetic. Gehlot's track record typically has been that after 5 years in power, the Congress on his watch gets routed.
Yeah, so when BJP wins, it wins big, and when Congress loses, it loses badly. And when it has been winning in the past 2008 and 2018, it has not been able to score the simple majority mark. So what happens is that Ashok Gehlot has an image of a status quoist. If you talk to the people there, what happens generally is that Ashok Gehlot comes into action or gets into action only in the last year of elections, and that has an impact on the overall performance of the Congress. In this term, what many Congress supporters also believe is that Ashok Gehlot has been largely for the first 4 years trying to settle the factionalism with Sachin Pilot. So he has been caught up in factionalism, trying to save his chair rather than administrative issues. And that is why perhaps this time we are seeing the trend, and the same trend has been observed in the past as well.
Let Nasir Hussain of the Congress respond to this. Dr. Hussain, the fact is the first 4 years were largely about Gehlot and Pilot being at loggerheads, brutally, visibly, publicly unabashed. Now he's trying through freebies, welfareism to try and recover lost ground, but Yashwant's data would seem to suggest that the gap is now too yawning for it to be bridged, no matter how many freebies Chief Minister Gehlot offers to the voters in Rajasthan.
Rahul, I think Ashok Gehlot government for the past 5 years has been a pro-people's government. The kind of schemes and the kind of programs that he has given to the people of Rajasthan is something that has not been seen in many other states in our country. A right to health, in which you have a right not to be denied treatment. I think this is first of its kind in the country. The Chiranjeevi Yojana, 25 lakh cashless health insurance. Indira Gandhi Urban Employment Scheme, again in the urban areas. We had spoken about Manrega, but for the rural areas, but then urban employment scheme. then first state to re-implement the old pension scheme, for which he has, I think, almost spent about 12,000 crores. Free electricity up to 100 units. So they're marvelous schemes for the welfare of the poor of
So
Rajasthan,
what you're saying, with respect, Dr. Hussain,
very innovative, very imaginative,
seems to be divorced from the data. This show is about the data. What you're saying is not getting captured in the data. How do you explain the C-voter data, which suggests that the Congress is not just on its way out, it's losing steam. The BJP campaign in Rajasthan is gaining steam. Let's stick to the data on the political stock exchange.
I would not like to get into the data that is being provided by C-voter. What I have seen, we have been engaging here from Delhi and to the people down who are working there in Rajasthan. We have visited Rajasthan on a number of occasions. I think we are comfortably placed. We will form the government, and this will be after so many years. I think this will be for the first time that the government will get repeated there. And
you're hopeful that the Congress will come back to power. Yashwant Deshmukh, can something change? Now, if I look at your tracker, okay, Yashwant Deshmukh, if I see your tracker, momentum seems to be building in favor of the BJP and away from the Congress in Rajasthan. We'll come to the other states in a moment. Between now and polling day, is there something that can potentially change? How do you read it? What are the X factors?
Well, even though, Rahul, it is said that a week is a long time in politics, as far as our profession goes, we have seen some of the drastic ups and downs during a timeline, but those kind of drastic ups and downs happen only when really drastic things happen on the ground. Public perception, otherwise, in our tracker, because we do it on a daily basis, by and large, in the last 4.5 years, I have seen Congress numbers in Rajasthan have only tanking down and then remaining there. So what I'm simply humbly trying to say is that unless something really big happens on the ground, for example, and I can say what can work for the Congress. For example, if there is an open rebellion by Vasundhara Raje and she starts putting up candidates all across the states. Now that kind of thing happens, which is a black swan event.
But she hasn't rebelled so far. She's expressing her displeasure, but she hasn't openly rebelled, and there is no indication that she intends to do so. And remember, just bear in mind, as you look at how unhappy Vasundhara Raje is and her supporters are, keep in mind that the campaign is now started. Polling is just a few weeks away. So Yashwant, she's left with very little time now to actually be able to rebel, form her own party, place her own candidates. She's now run out of time.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point. And also, Rahul, please keep in mind, BJP in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh or Chhattisgarh is not because of their chief ministerial candidate. BJP in these states is largely because of their organizational strength and capacity. So even though we have seen, when you remember somebody like Uma Bharti rebelled against the BJP, or somebody like Mr. Kalyan Singh rebelled against the BJP, they did manage to disturb the party, they did manage to damage the party in a short-term basis. But in a long-term basis, it was the organization and the strength of the party which persisted over there. So yes, the Black Swan event could be only an open rebellion by
That's
Vasundhara
a very good
Raje.
point by
Otherwise,
Yashwant Deshmukh, that if Vasundhara decides to walk away, then there is fluidity. Otherwise, the trend line seems set. The BJP is on the ascendant. The Congress in Rajasthan seems to be on its way out. That trend can't change unless now there is a black swan X factor type event. So with that said, from Rajasthan